After all the nerfs to damage in patch 1.5, can you still defeat bosses in a single clip?
Of course you're here.
Yes, but now you actually need a build to do it in patch 1.5. Before patch 1.5, builds were somewhat unnecessary due to the excessively overpowered nature of crit stacking clothing mods, crazy weapon stats, and V's base stats. To make Cyberpunk 2077 challenging, I often set myself restrictions like doing a playthrough without any clothes or low leveling Don't Fear the Reaper. I even did a playthrough only being able to use these plastic vending machine pistols that cannot be reloaded to defeat all the bosses. However, given the huge number of balance changes, the majority of which were not mentioned in the patch notes, I posed a few questions that I wanted to answer in my first playthrough in patch 1.5. Question 1. Do some of these ultimate perks work now? The next question was, is crit stacking still viable despite the stats being 1/8 of what it was before? If answers to both of these were yes, then question 3, can you still defeat the bosses in one clip or less? Lastly, how strong are ricocheted shots with the rework of Ricochet Damage and the new muzzles? Before making my new character, I looked at the remaining crit stats, and the cool tree obviously had the most crit chance, although it is conditional. I'm not going to go over all of it in this video, but essentially 20% from the shadows, and I estimated roughly 30 to 50% from the merciless perk could potentially be a strong combo to test how viable crit stacking would be. Since the start of the game, I've always recommended the Problem Solver and the legendary Short Circuit passive for extra damage. I'll probably make a full build video again after I test a few more things like the new clothing modifiers and some other perks. I decided to use Oda as my guinea pig, and first of all I needed to test whether these perks functioned in the first place. After entering combat and critting to gain a stack of cold blood, I checked the stats page to see how much crit I had. I started with 20-ish% crit, so it should have increased by another 20% with From the Shadows, and another 45% from Merciless, resulting in 85% on the stats page. As you can see by the stats page, yes, the perks do function, which is excellent news. This means that with the current crit chance on the weapon, I'll actually overcap on crit chance by a little, but that's fine since some fights last longer due to invuln phases or having a lot of enemies. After confirming that those perks functioned, I wanted to do a comparison between Ricochet Damage and just regular shots. I defeated Oda maybe 10 times and my fastest one was this one, but essentially I used the amount of ammo remaining as a rough gauge for how fast I could take down Oda. Essentially, you can take down a boss in one clip using direct shots, however, it was cutting it kind of close, and if I missed too many shots, the target would get away. Now taking a look at Ricochet Damage. If you stack Ricochet Damage, it results in an extra 230% damage, and therefore a much faster kill. I've already made a video discussing how to stack Ricochet Damage, so I recommend that if you plan to try this out for yourself. For this I'm using the Epic Strigoi, and although I've seen other people find legendary ones, I did not find one by the time I finished the game in my playthrough.
Of course you're here.
Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Oda fight showcasing regular shots compared to Ricochet Damage. As you can see, ricocheted shots came out on top by a large margin. As for the other bosses, they also got deleted by ricocheted shots.
Now the watcher.
The only fight that's slightly different is the Smasher one. Smasher is a strange fight because it's been changed the most since patch 1.2. After the first invuln phase, Smasher jumps up and tries to fire missiles from the platform above. However, if you just stay where the fight starts, the missiles won't land. He'll eventually peek his head, in which case you can just shoot him directly, and after damaging him to roughly 25%, he'll fall over and then jump down. When he jumps down, he'll do this new attack where he moves and launches missiles, which you have to dodge. I believe during this attack he'll also be invulnerable, and you can either wait for this attack to finish, or personally I tried stealthing and he just stopped his attack. I also redid the Don't Fear the Reaper Smasher fight in patch 1.52 to see if there's anything different. I wanted to see if I could burst him down before he jumped to the platform above. Turns out that this was possible, so it makes the fight even quicker. Overall, it takes a while longer compared to just one-shotting him in earlier patches, but as usual, you don't need to deal with any mechanics if you have the big DPS.
Interesting. Come here. You spared Oda. So, where is Rogue? Wanted no part of this raid, you cunt. Once I finish with you, I'll hunt her. You are nothing. Is this a pain?
I get it. Fine.
Johnny Silverhand sends his regards.
Are you fucking with me now?
So yes, you can still defeat every boss in one clip or less after patch 1.5. It's actually worth making builds now, so that's kinda exciting. I'll be making a general tips video followed by some build guides eventually. I'm curious to know how everyone else has been finding the balance and build changes. Let me know how you've been going in the comments. I'll see you next time.
I'll give you a minute.